welcome to another Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. Today's one is for kit number 63, which is the delightful Daisies card creator. So instead of having a three-dimensional box in this month's kit, we've actually got a die that helps us to create different types of cards. I've actually done a gatefold card, just a normal folded card, but then you've got like half of the front missing but a circular portion sticking out on the side. I'll show you that one. And then I've also done an easel card with it as well. I'm sure there are many other ways of using it, but those are the three that I have got samples to show you for. And then I've also got my tutorial video that will be up tomorrow that is showing how to use some of the dies to create your own mask and then use some of the elements from the kit to create an overall background as well. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned for tomorrow. But let's have a look at what's in this month's craft kit. So I've already taken my stuff out of the bag, but you can see in this month's kit we've got a new binder. So it's time for another binder to keep all of our kits in. I think we get them every 4th kit, so I think we get 4 a year. Then let's have a look at all of the Nuvo bits we get in here. So first of all, we're getting a full bottle of Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. This is the 60ml bottle. I know they've come out with a larger bottle now, but this is the original 60ml bottle of the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. So fantastic for, I'm sure a lot of you will need this after making all of your Christmas cards as well. So a lovely restock for your stash of adhesive. Then we're also getting a full set of Nuvo hybrid ink pads. So these are the ones that will work great with your watercolouring or with your alcohol colouring if you want to use a coloured outline. They're also just fabulous for stamping in your backgrounds, and if you really want to like deepen up a colour, you can use them in a stamping platform and stamp them multiple times over the top of each other to get really like a deep dark version of the colour. But you can also use them to ink blend as well. So the set of inks that you're getting in the kit is the Woodland Walk, which has amber ochre, pistachio green and soft suede, which this is what they look like when they're on your cardstock. But you're also getting in this kit a blending brush. So I'm not 100% sure what blending brush everybody is getting, but this is one of the ones from the 4-pack of the smaller brushes, so I'm presuming it might be a random selection of one of the ones from the smaller pack. So it could be this one. I think there is a slightly bigger one in that set, and then there's also like the skinny long one and the little round one. So it's going to be one little precision blending brush, and I presume it's going to be from the smaller pack rather than the larger pack. But these brushes are fantastic. Obviously they will get dirty, but you can use them for multiple different colours, because in my tutorial video I go through using all 3 different colours with this brush. But this is a lovely pristine one to show you how beautiful and like densely packed all of the bristles are in there. So I don't know if it's going to focus on that. I don't think it is. If I show you this way, it's like really densely packed bristles in there. So really lovely blending brushes. So if you've never tried the Nuvo ones before, and maybe you've just bought cheap ones off of Amazon or eBay or something, do give the real ones a try, because I'm sure you're going to be pleased with them because they don't shed all of their bristles. I've bought some cheap ones in the past and they're always shedding their bristles everywhere, but these ones I haven't found that at all with the Nuvo ones. So they're not just a higher price brush, they are actually higher quality as well. So that you're also getting that in the craft kit. Then you're also getting a Nuvo glitter marker, and this is the Golden Honey colour, and I've shown glitter markers a lot in the past, so you should already know how to prime them. But they come with like a cream coloured nib, and you literally just shake the pen, hold the nib down on your glass mat to break the valve, put the lid back on, shake it again. You should start to see some of the colour coming through into the nib. If you don't, press it back onto your glass cutting mat, put the lid back on, shake it again, and then your pen should be primed for you, and the nib of your pen will be gorgeous and soaked full of glittery ink when it is primed as well. And you can use these for so much. I've shown them recently in my Advent series, stamping with them in the, what did I call it? Funky Foam Poinsettia background stamp, something like that. I've used it to actually stamp with Funky Foam as well, and you can use it on your rubber stamps, your clear stamps. I also show you in the tutorial video how you can ink blend with them and splatter with them as well. So a few different ideas for your glitter markers. We're also getting a full spool of the Marigold Yellow Craft Perfect Baker's Twine, and it's the yellow with white intertwined into it, and you're getting 25 metres, and they really do last a long time because, I mean, this is my one from literally like 3-4 years ago when they first launched, and mine had been used before I got it as well, so they really do last a very long time, and I love having my Baker's Twine off to the side. The amount of times where I just feel like a card or a tag or a project needs something else, and Baker's Twine is like the perfect solution to add to it. So you've got that in the kit, and it also helps hold together some of your cards that you might be making with the dies in the die set as well, so that's very useful to have. Then we have got a full-size Nuvo glitter drop, which is the chocolate fondue colour. So it's an interesting colour to have in your stash. I don't think it's one that, well, I suppose it depends what your favourite colour is and what kind of cards that you make, but it's not one that I would maybe go out and buy, but it's nice to have the dark brown colour, because you never know when you really want, maybe you're doing a card and it's more on the vintage side and you've stamped in brown inks and you really need some kind of accent. You want it to be a dark accent, but you don't want it to be black because you've used brown everywhere else. This kind of Nuvo drop is like perfect for that, but it's not usually something that you might have already bought and have in your stash. So it's a really nice one to have, and I will show you how this dries on one of the projects that I'll show you. And in the tutorial video, I also show you how you can splatter with a glittery Nuvo drop as well. You can do it with any of the Nuvo drops, but I show you with this glittery one in particular. So that is all of the Nuvo goodies. Then we've got the cardstock. So I've got some half sheets because I didn't have enough in my stash to pick a new sheet out of my stash to work with, and then have one to show you as well. So we've got 5 textured Craft Perfect sheets within this kit. We've got amber yellow, marigold yellow, then we've got fern green, we've got chocolate brown, and we've also got clementine orange. And some of these colours, I haven't been able to get hold of a new packet to replenish my supply. So the brown and the orange in particular, so I'm hoping that means that some of these are going to be coming back in stock on the website as well, because they have been out of stock of a few of their colours of classic cardstock. So hopefully that means these two are coming, because I haven't been able to get any more of these for quite a while. So hopefully that is a sign of things to come. So that is the 5 textured Craft Perfect sheets that we're getting in this kit, and then you will get obviously an A4 sheet of all of them. I just had to cut mine in half so I had some to use. Then we're also getting some gold dust glitter card. So this is more probably more on the champagne gold kind of side than the Welsh gold that they also do. So this is more of a subtle gold, whereas the Welsh gold is more of like a rich orangey kind of gold. This is quite a nice subtle kind of one. So this is the gold dust. Then we've also got a sheet of their beautiful majestic gold. I haven't used this one in ages and I forget how beautiful it is, and it's their pearlescent cardstock, so it's the same on both sides. And then we also have a sheet of their fantastic iridescent mirror card. I love the iridescent card, and this one is the seafoam green, so it's the slightly darker green. There is also water sprite green in the collection, but this is the slightly darker seafoam green colour. So those are all of the cardstocks from this month's kit. Then we can move on to look at the dies and the stamps, and I also have the sticker to show you as well. So the sticker says Delightful Daisies, because that's what the kit is called, and you've got beautiful little 4-petaled daisies with little leaves coming off the sides of them in a beautiful soft mint kind of colour. Really, really pretty, that one. Then we've got the stamp set, and we've also got the A5 die set, which I've put onto a magnetic sheet, but yours won't actually come on the magnetic sheet. So, yeah, let's have a look at the die set first. So, this is the main card creator die. This piece here, this is like the main piece of the kit. It's your card creator, and as I said before, you can do lots of different ideas with this card, and I'm sure there are more that I didn't have time to play with or hadn't thought of doing, but I'm sure there are definitely more ideas that you could do with this as well. I will show you the 3 that I have thought of, and I will also show you the die cut out and show you where to like stick things and stuff as well. But that is the main die, and this will fit on an A5 sheet because it fits on the A5 plate here, or the magnetic sheet here, so it will fit on an A5 sheet. So if you did want to use the Craft Perfect texture cardstock as card bases, especially if you're doing some of them, you are kind of like sticking two pieces together, so it might be strong enough for some. You could actually use like, you know, half of a sheet of each of them and get one card base out for a specific type of card, or if you are going for a Gatefold card or an Easel card, you might have to use the whole sheet of one colour of cardstock as well. But I do kind of recommend a 300 GSM white cardstock for your card bases. That's what I've used for all of mine, and it's worked out perfectly. So that is the first one, or the main die from the set. Then to decorate that, you have your main panels. So whatever kind of card you're going to go for, inevitably you're going to want to decorate it, and possibly if you're folding it in different directions, you might end up with the unprofessional side of card showing, so you're going to want a panel to be able to cover it as much as you can, so people don't really notice that it's the back of the card that you can see. So you have both your panels, and these would actually just be beautiful for creating cards yourself, because when I was doing my sped up videos years ago, I had my rectangle set of dies like this, and I had another rectangle set which I think were MFT, and it had a rectangle this size, and so many times I would make a card that looked like that with that rectangle on top, and it just looks so lovely. Or you can do it this way round as well, and you can even bring in some of the other elements and just create cards as you would normally create cards, rather than even using the card creator die as well. But they have this beautiful pierced edge on them, so really, really lovely, and I think this is a nice versatile one. It gives you that different card design and a little bit of versatility in different ones that you can create, but it also gives you the essentials as well, which I think is really lovely. So you've got those for your decoration. Then you also have these semicircular pieces. So you have 3 different designs here. You can use them however you want to, really. I use this one to create a mask. I then also use this one to cut into the design as it's designed to do, but then I also use this one just cutting it into the pierced rectangle die. I just cut 2 of them together to create a focal element as well. So loads of ways of using them, and all of these dies, if I zoom in, hopefully you can see, in this main die you have 2 notches here. And each of these dies also has the notches, so not necessarily to cut the dies together because this bit is overlapping, but when you actually cut out your die cut version, let me get the one that I have got here, those 2 pieces of metal will leave a tiny little imprint on your cardstock. So if you see just there, there's a tiny little imprint of that semicircle. So if you then wanted to add one of these decorative details onto here, you can line it up with those little semicircles. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but the semicircle is in that little semicircle that's there. So you have that ability to line them up perfectly and change the shape of this piece. So this one will change the shape of it. This one will give you a flower edge instead of having the semicircle, whereas both of these 2 will just cut a design into the semicircle. And depending on how you're going to use these, maybe you're going to create an easel card, maybe you're going to create a gatefold card, maybe you're just going to fold the card in half and use this as a decorative detail. There's so many ways of using it, and you can get so many different effects from the different ways that you use them. And you can also create more of a circular design. You could use the same 2 dies, you can use 2 different dies, and if you do it with these ones, these just cut into your card, whereas this one cuts into your card as in along this edge, but it actually has the cutting edge on the outside edge. So it's slightly different to these 2 ones, so you can get loads of different effects with them. Then, because this one cuts on that outside edge, if I show you it up close, it's got the outside cutting edge here. Because it does that, if you wanted to back that detail with a colour, it would be harder to cut around that. So the lovely people at Tonic have created a die that will fit behind the design. I think it is slightly, no, it is actually exactly the same size. I thought it was slightly smaller, but it is exactly the same size. So you actually already have that piece to cut out a solid bit to go behind this. So I use this to create a focal element on one of my cards, and I wanted it to stand out more, so I put 2 of these behind it and actually offset them as well. You can line it up perfectly, or you can offset it and put that pointy part behind the petal as well, for a different look. So you can really like play around with how you twist and put these together too. You can also use this to create an aperture into your card, or you can do something with this and just create an aperture straight into the card, maybe score along here, flip it back the other way for a different kind of look. You could even do that with this one. So I didn't even think to, well actually no, I did do something similar to that. But yeah, you could cut this along the edge and then flip it back in this way. I actually cut one of these detail dies into this and I flipped it back the other way. But you can definitely do all sorts of techniques with this kind of die and these half cut sort of dies that are in there. Then you also have extra decorations. So you've got these 2 corner pieces, which will go like above and below this sort of semicircular piece of the design. You've got a different corner piece as well. This one sort of stretches out a little bit more, depending on how you're putting this together, maybe how close to that semicircular piece you want your corners to be. You can use the different corners depending. That one also has the option of a little bit of detail inside it as well, and you also have the option for detail inside these 2. You can mat and layer them with a pierced design, which I have done on one of mine, or you can put the detail in the largest one as well, whatever you want for your card. Then you have this like almost like a doily flower kind of shape. You've got this donut kind of shape as well, which I think possibly you could create some kind of lock mechanism for your card using these. I think Tonic has done that on a previous card where you have some of these donut pieces and like a circle on the other side, and it actually creates a lock. So maybe that's what they are supposed to be designed for, but I didn't get any instructions with mine, so that could be a way of creating a lock mechanism. I just found the baker's twine that you get in the kit is really nice for creating a lock mechanism as well. Then you also get a circle die, which has 2 different sentiments that can go inside it. So this one says just to say, and I've got one of them cut out for you to see on a project, and then this one says for a friend, and I've also got that cut out on a project for you as well, so you can see both of those being used. And then we also have a little flower, which I cut quite a few of them out, and I've got a few left over because I was creating a sort of almost like a wreathy kind of design on a card as well, and they look lovely in all of the colours from the kit. Look how beautiful they all look together, especially that iridescent. It really brings in the yellow and the orange. Really, really like them all together, and those flowers are absolutely gorgeous. So if you're die cutting a bunch of other stuff, you might as well run a load of flowers through if you've got a little bit of space left on your plate as well. Then, before I move all of this out of the way to show you my samples, we also have a stamp set. So we've got a small little A7 stamp set this time, and you have 2 designs that are the mirror image of each other. So like you have the corners here that are the mirror image, you've got these 2 stamp designs that you could stamp above and below the curvature of the archway as well. I don't think I properly put them in position. No, maybe I did on one of the cards. I'll show you that later on. But yeah, you can put these around the archway. You can use the same one and just flip it and it looks a little bit different. Or you can use the 2 of them if you want it to be perfectly symmetrical. You've also got this beautiful little leaf, which I've used on a couple of different projects. And then you've also got a couple of sentiments. So you've got hello friend and then thanks a bunch, which I've used both on some different cards as well. So a lovely little stamp set that accents it really nicely. And you can also kind of accent the actual stamp as well and put like a 3D flower over the top to bring 3D kind of elements or different colours of cardstock into your card as well. So I'll put all of these away and then I'll come back and show you the cards that I've created. So these are the samples that I have done. This one I did add a few clouds from my stash, and I have used some of the sentiments from this Simply Sentiments A6 stamp set, which I bought off Tonic's website recently, so it should still be available, and I will put it in the links in the description, just in case you want to get hold of an extra stamp set for sentiments. But I thought it looked like a rainbow, and I really wanted to do an easel card, and I thought what better way than making an easel card and having a rainbow popping out the top of it. So to turn this die cut into an easel card, what you need to do is fold it along that middle score line and burnish it, and then you want to take another die cut. So you want to get another die cut, but you just need this portion. So you literally just need this portion. So you can put the die on a partial piece of cardstock, and then you just want to cut along the fold line there. So you have two pieces, and then this one that you folded in half, you also want to score this piece backwards like so. And then when you have your second piece like this, you just take this piece, stick it just here on the semicircle, and then the semicircular bit and the front piece, don't score the score line, just stick the semicircle up here, and then the front piece will stick down there, and you get this design like this. So if you can kind of see how I've created that one, you just need an extra half piece of the panel to create your easel card, and then I've put extra clouds in there, but I'm sure you probably have a cloud die in your stash, and I've just used a patterned paper from Tonic to decorate. And actually what's good about this panel and this panel, you can just, if you're very careful with how you place your dies on your piece of paper, you can just get them out of a 6x6 piece of patterned paper. So you only have to cut into one sheet, which is nice, and you can get the whole thing decorated. I know this card does look a little bit plain, but I thought you could write your message just here, and then it would sit on someone's mantelpiece, and they'd see the message as well. But I just thought it was a nice take on this card, and the fact that you have the semicircle works perfectly for a rainbow. And all I did was take the 6 different colours. So I did red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then purple. And I just took the chisel nib of my pens and just tried to go round in as smooth a curve as I could. It's not perfect, but you know, it still looks like a rainbow. You know what it is. So I think it works really nicely. So that's the first kind of card, which is an easel card. Then this one that I created, you can see the beautiful sparkle that's in there. So in my tutorial video, I show you, where did I put the sponge? Oh, there. I show you how to ink blend with your Nuvo glitter markers. So I actually used the sponge from that and went over the backing piece. This is where I've cut those 2 backing pieces, but the backing pieces are actually lining up along this axis. And then this is actually a double cut of that beautiful flower design. And I show you how to do that in the tutorial video as well, because we use this as a mask, which creates fantastic effects if you spray over it as well. But yeah, you can do this beautiful full flower design. The die is actually designed so that you could actually cut into the white panel, but I just wanted it as a focal element to stick on top. So to create this style of card, you're literally just folding the piece in half, and then you're not scoring this line. You want that to stay flat, so don't score that line. And then you just stick your circular element onto there, and then you can decorate however you want to. And in this one, I hid some twine in it. So I wanted it to be able to be held shut. I mean, it does just close nicely by itself, and it does still stand up, even though half the front of the card is missing. This is enough to make it stand up, which is nice. But I hid some twine in there. So before I stuck the back panel on, I stuck the twine onto the back of the inside of the card. And before I stuck this panel and the flower on, I ran the twine along here. So it's actually stuck under this panel as well to make it really nice and strong. And then I've just done it so it will tie at the side. It adds another design element to the card, and it also you know, gives it a way of like holding it nicely shut as well. Depending on how people display their cards, it might be a good idea, it might be a bad idea, but I just thought it was an extra kind of idea of how to do it. I've layered this up with the Marigold and the Amber, and then I've put the glitter markers on the slightly darker colour of cardstock and layered everything up together. I've used the glitter card behind the You're So Amazing, and this is from that sentiment stamp set again, because I did use Thanks a Bunch in the background, but I sort of wanted a longer sentiment because I didn't want to put the sentiment in the centre of the flower, and I felt like it would have maybe looked a little bit odd on this card having a circular sentiment off to the side. So I did the You're So Amazing, so it's like Thanks a Bunch, You're So Amazing as the sentiment. And then for this, you can see I've used that corner there, but I actually just used the same corner to make it look a little bit different, but you can definitely do symmetrical corners because you have both of them in the stamp set. And then in the background, I used that tiny little branch kind of stamp, and I did first and second generation with the amber ink pad, and then I also stamped in the Nuvo glitter marker as well, because that's a great technique for using your Nuvo glitter marker. And if you have leftovers, you can splatter it in the background as well. And to stamp with them, you can either draw straight onto your stamp with your you know, juicy end of the pen with all of the ink in there, or you can scribble down onto your glass mat to kind of make like a little palette to pick up from, and then you can like tap your stamp into the little little puddle and then stamp it on the card, which is like exactly how I stamped these leaves on here. So I thought that was a nice extra element. You might be thinking these little drops of the chocolate fondue look a bit random, but they go around the circle when the card is shut, and this is what the chocolate fondue drops look like. So really deep, dark, rich chocolate colour, and I've also done them in the centre of the flower and in these flowers as well. I did flip these ones so they've gone kind of flat, but I still really like the look of it, and I did those glitter card flowers there to match the glitter card that I put behind the sentiment. And then to tie this one up, you literally just tie a knot between those two pieces there, pull it tightly, and then tie a little bow on there as well. And then you can pull these bits taut as well. And there you go, you've got your little bow tied on the card. So that's like the second card. So we've done this sort of version with an extra half panel for an easel card, or keeping that flat is just like a half missing sort of front of a card, but it still stands up, which is really lovely. So that's like the second idea. And then this one is my Gatefold card. So I went with lots of the green tones on this one. I did add in some gems from my stash to go with the green, because I didn't think the dark brown drops would look quite so good on this. So I did decide on gems. But for this one, the twine isn't attached. So I've just wrapped the twine around. It's a little bit fiddly to undo, but I think I tied a very tight knot on there. But I've just wrapped the twine around 3 times to secure it onto the card, but I just thought it was a nice different way of closing the card, and it just comes off afterwards, so someone can use that for something and then put their card up on their mantelpiece. And this is a Gatefold card, so I've used, I've just realised what I've done in here, I've stuck them the wrong way around. Anyway, yeah, they should be the other way around, but I'm not going to take them off now because that'll ruin the inside. But yeah, they should be the other way around, so it looks like that. So they've sort of lined the inside. And then for the Gatefold card, you actually just need 2 of these. And the way I did it is I folded this the opposite way. So this is the professional side of the card, then we have the unprofessional side, and then we have the professional side again. And then you just do that twice. And then you slot them together this way. So you'd have another one the opposite way around, and you slot them together. You trim a tiny little bit off this edge on one of them, and then you stick them both in together. And you can also double check that the 2 fronts are going to come together and make a circle before you stick the 2 back pieces together as well. And then before you do any of that, you die cut your detail into this piece. So this one, I used this skinnier kind of design to die cut into there. You can also use this die to cut your extra pieces of your iridescent mirror card, so that you've got a piece to go behind the detail here as well. You can see there's a gorgeous piece of the iridescent cardstock behind there, and it just fills that detail in. You've got the panels here, so it disguises the fact that this is the wrong side of the card. You know, you're kind of covering it a little bit, but having the panel on there helps disguise it. That's the only annoying thing with these kind of dies, is inevitably there is going to be the wrong side of the card showing from which way round that you kind of fold it. So it's kind of, yeah, you kind of just have to deal with it really and cover it up. But if it really did bother you, you could cut another one of these, just, you know, like partially cutting it, and then snip off the semicircle from it and layer the exact piece exactly over the top, and then you just have the raw edge on the outside. You could definitely do that as well. I just thought, because we have those panels there, it does cover it up enough so that you don't notice it's the wrong side of the card. But yeah, other than me just noticing that I stuck those 2 the wrong way round, I do quite like this Gatefold card, and it gives this kind of a look when it stands up, because you've got these 2 extra elements here as well. And I'm sure you could make that lock mechanism to go behind there using the little donut and the circle that goes in there. You could do a lock mechanism so it would stay locked by itself, but I do quite like having the twine on there. So how I did this was, I held the card, I took the twine, I put it underneath the card like so. Then I held this over to here because I want the bow to be over here. So I want to make sure there's enough to be able to tie a bow. Then I hold this shut, pull this around, and I want 3 wraps around the card. Then okay, that is a little bit too short. I need to add less coming out here, so we'll pull that back a bit. And then we do 3 wraps around the card. And then I tuck the longest one underneath the 3 strands to pull it round. and then we can tie a knot to keep it all in position. And then once we've got it in place, we can tie a little bow on there as well. Or if you were going for a slightly more masculine sort of look, you could just leave it as a knot as well. But it just gives a nice different kind of closure to a gatefold card. And it just makes it look quite pretty having the little bow on there. I'm not the best at tying bows, but I think that looks alright. So yeah, you've just got that gorgeous little tying system, and that is the third way that I have used this specific die set, and that's the way that I folded it. So professional side, then non-professional side, then professional side again, two of them, slot them into each other, and you get your gatefold card. Or you could do some kind of half gatefold kind of card if you want to as well. So instead of just leaving this piece flat over here, you fold it back on itself. Maybe you fold it back on itself, but you also cut another piece out and have that poking out of the edge. Like if you cut another half piece of that, you could have that poking out from behind. But if you cut that beautiful die into this half circle, that's what it would look like. It would give you that beautiful detail around the edge, and that's why they give you that solid die, so that you could place it behind there really nice and easily. I just absolutely adore this design though, it's so pretty. So that's the three ways that I use the card actual creator die. But then I also took that sort of wider design with all of the flowers in, and I cut it once here and I moved it over and cut it once there. Then I just cut a bunch of those flowers out and put loads of them cascading down the card in the brown, the orange, the lighter and the darker yellow actually, the green and the gold glitter card. Then for the sentiment, I wanted to tie the brown in. I felt like the brown was popping the most. You could have gone with the orange maybe as well, but I felt like the brown was popping the most. So I did, I cut the actual intricate sentiment from white and the gold glitter card, and then I cut the backing piece from brown, and then behind the apertures, and this is raised up on foam tape, you've got the iridescent mirror card behind there too, which brings in those yellows and orange kind of colours too. So I thought that was quite a nice way, and I really liked tying the twine around that gatefold card. So I decided to tie the twine around this card as well, just as an extra decorative element. And then if you do this kind of thing, add this to your card blank with foam tape afterwards and avoid where the twine is, and then you won't get like a bump in your card as well. But I thought that was a really nice one. And then I've done the chocolate fondue drops in the centre. And you can see how gorgeous and dark they go. So they give a really lovely dramatic kind of centre, and probably quite a realistic kind of centre, to be honest, because some flowers do have a really dark centre to them. But it's just different than using black really, isn't it, having the brown colour, and with the sparkle in as well. It's really lovely. So that's that card. And then finally, the last card that I've got to show you is the card in the tutorial. So this is what I show you how to create in the tutorial. And in doing this tutorial, I discovered a couple of other things that you could also do. So when you are double cutting that beautiful flower die, you actually can, if you do it perfectly, which I did manage to do, which was amazing, when I was cutting the one for the tutorial video, I managed to cut it perfectly without messing up where the two dies or the two die cuts were joining. So you can also create an aperture with this as well, and you probably could just do that with the solid die too, but you could also create an aperture, put this one back in if you weren't intending to use it as a stencil, or even if you were, you could colour this a different colour so it doesn't look quite so peculiar of having some green and some yellow and some brown on it. You could recess that back in and create a shaker card behind it as well, or just recess it back in for a different kind of look, or just have that aperture. So lots of different ways of using that. And also from the stencil of the original card that I created, I also thought, I wonder how well it will work for spray inks through it as well. So this was actually Apple Spritzer Nuvo Sparkle Spray that we had previously gotten in a Tonic Craft Kit, and I just put it in a different bottle and diluted it down so it goes further, and it's also not quite so in your face with colour and sparkle as well. But you can see it is pretty sparkly still and has a really good colour to it, so it really doesn't matter if you water that sparkle spray down, you really can make it go further. And it works really well with one of these little masks that we've created by using that die cut twice. I really like that design, I think it's beautiful, and I think you could alter this as well. You could easily bring your scissors into here and snip these more like leafy elements out, and you could just have a beautiful flower, or you could decoupage this, layer them on top of each other, have one in green behind, and then snip these off of the top one and have a beautiful like pink or red flower. It could give a poinsettia kind of look, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous, this die, and I think it's a nice versatile one as well that you can easily snip into to kind of change the look of it as well. You can see that side looks different without having those leafy portions poking out. So a lovely die, that one. I really like that one. And those were just some other ideas. But how I did the tutorial video, and what you will see in that video, which will be out tomorrow, is I just placed this in different positions around the card. I used the 3 ink pads from this kit and also the blending brush. Started with the pistachio green, then moved on to amber ochre, and then came back in with the soft suede. Then I also stamped in some positions as well. I stamped the little tiny leaf in the pistachio. I stamped the gorgeous floral corner in the amber colour, and then I stamped the sentiment in the soft suede. And because we ink blended with the same colours, it all goes together really, really nicely. Then I came back in, oh, where did I put it? I'm not sure where I put it now. I'd made myself a little mask using the tiny little flower die, and I used the ink blending sponge with the glitter marker through that little mask. So we've got sparkly flowers, we've got splatter from the glitter marker, and we've also got Nuvo drop splatter as well. So we've got glittery Nuvo drop splatter in there too, and then to finish it off, some of the chocolate fondue Nuvo drops as well. And I mounted the sentiment on the majestic gold cardstock. So a really lovely card for the tutorial video as well, which will be up tomorrow. So I really hope you enjoyed this unboxing video for Tonic Craft Kit number 63, which is the delightful Daisies card creator that allows you to create, well, from what I've figured out, it allows you to create an easel card, a gatefold card, or just like a partly missing front of a small little card as well. And this is the small kind of A2 sort of sized card too. But if you like to make A6 cards, then these will still fit in A6 envelopes as well. There'll just be a little bit of space above and below, but I'm pretty sure width-wise they'll still fit in an A6 envelope for you to be able to send them as well. But just a really lovely die set that allows you to create a slightly different card than you might normally go to create. And I just love this flower die that's in there as well. And the fact that you can use it as a half, or you can cut 2 together and use it as a whole, I think is just brilliant. So yeah, really hope you enjoyed this unboxing video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.